Hey everyone, Mac here of Bound for Nowhere, and welcome to beautiful Telluride, Colorado. In today's video, I'm going to take you through our 5 favorite hikes from North America thus far. All of these hikes are ones that really stand out in our minds, and they offer a variety of terrain levels, difficulty, elevation, the whole 9. But I think that we all know that all of those elements are what makes for a great hike anyways. So let's go check them out. A quick side note about all of these hikes. Every single one of these is a very well-known hike. They are no secrets. We are not giving any secrets out. They are well-maintained, beautiful trails, and all of them actually happen to be in a national park of some description, be it US or Canadian. The Precipice Trail begins at the base of Champlain Mountain, which happens to be the 6th highest peak in all of Acadia National Park. Though it is a short hike, it is a very steep and strenuous Via Ferrata style hike. If you are not familiar with the Via Ferrata, in Italian it means iron path. They originated in the Alps, and the iron paths or iron rungs assist you through strenuous or really steep sections of the hike. Though the Precipice Trail is not a true Via Ferrata, it does have numerous iron rungs, ladders, and bridges to assist you through some of those harder sections of the hike. Though this might be daunting to those who are afraid of heights, I strongly recommend this hike because it is so well worth the views that you get from the ascent and the summit. Owen and I personally hiked this one up kind of really late in the afternoon so we could be on the summit for sunset, and then do an easier hike around the side for our descent. If you're going to do something like that, I do recommend bringing a headlamp because it is a pretty intense scramble on your way back down. If you're interested in doing this hike in Acadia National Park, I do recommend checking ahead of time because this hike does close down during certain seasons for peregrine falcon nesting season. Pretty cool. Good to give them their distance, so check ahead. Angel's Landing is quite possibly one of America's most iconic trails. I feel like you're hard-pressed to find anybody who hasn't at least seen pictures of this beautiful and famous trail. I know I've said this before, but if you are afraid of heights, this trail might be a little daunting, but I think it's worth giving it a try. It does have exposed sections through the middle in the landing portion, getting out to the very end of the trail. Starting from the valley in Zion National Park, sometimes you will need to take a bus to get to the trailhead, but from there you ascend up steep switchbacks until you get to the landing itself. From there, you start to work your way out to the end of the trail through steep, exposed sections of the trail. So if you are afraid of heights, this is where you're going to meet your challenges. But rest assured, there's plenty of handrails and little steps cut into the steeper sections to give you plenty of protection on your way out. It is well worth the view at the end because you get a view of Zion National Park unlike any other, with sweeping views down both sides of the valley. As a quick side note about this trail, in the summer months, I did mention it gets crowded, and trust me, it gets crowded. We've seen it for ourselves. So if you're interested in this trail, we recommend checking the bus schedule and getting a really early start so you can be on one of those first buses out to the trailhead. The hike to Iceberg Lake starts behind the Swift Current Motor Inn in the mini glacier section of Glacier National Park in Montana. Kind of a mouthful, but that's where it starts. The initial quarter mile of this trail is very strenuous. It is a steep 250-foot climb, but after that, it starts to level out, be a little bit more moderate all the way out to your final destination. The rest of the trail is in open terrain overlooking the valley below. When we were there in 2017, we happened to be having the strongest bloom of bear grass that the park had seen in about 50 years. Bear grass creates these really beautiful white blooms that you'll see all over the trail if you happen to be there in the spring and early summer. When we reached the beautiful, frigid, cold waters of ICEBERG Lake, Owen bet me that I couldn't skip a rock as far as he could in the lake. And if I lost, I had to get in and swim. And this might come as no surprise to you, but I lost. But I got in the lake and it was incredibly beautiful and refreshing. The water is fed by runoff from snowmelt. So as you can imagine, the water was not warm and there was still ice floating in the water. But luckily enough for me, Owen saw how much fun I was having and he ended up getting in too. My additional notes on this trail is it is classified to be an A+ trail for potentially sighting grizzly bears. So please follow any standard grizzly bear safety tactics such as bringing bear mace and hiking with a group and making plenty of noise on your way out, just because there's a ton of vegetation in the area where bears frequent for eating. So please practice caution. So, how do you like those completely ambiguous stats about this hike? But I will say they're all very true. The fiery furnace is amazing because it is exactly what you make of it. In order to hike in the fiery furnace, you will need to obtain a permit from the Arches National Park Visitor Center. And they only give out so many of those permits a day, so we recommend that you work on getting those a day or two before you actually plan to hike in that area. In order to get that permit, you will have to pay a couple of dollars fee, as well as watch a video and talk to the rangers about the fragile ecosystems and how to keep yourself and those fragile ecosystems safe during your trip. But once you get into the fiery furnace, you will be met with these beautiful towering sandstone walls that run roughly north to south. They create these really interesting labyrinths that you can choose your own path to hike in. You can make it as easy as you want or as adventurous as you want. And in our case, we really love to get lost in there and to find a route that requires rock scrambling, chimney climbs, and narrow squeezes. So it is entirely up to you. Getting lost inside of the fiery furnace, and I mean really lost, is an actual possibility because cell phones do not have any service inside because of those tall sandstone walls. So we recommend either saving the maps offline or bringing a satellite-based GPS so you can actually keep track of yourself if you feel like you're gonna need that. The hike to the summit of Gros Morne happens to be a very, very challenging hike. It also happens to be the second highest peak in all of Newfoundland. Nearly all of the 2,611 feet of elevation gain happen in a single half-mile push. The journey starts in a dense forest laced with all sorts of creeks and rivers until you get to the base of Gros Morne. From there, you cross over a stream into a meadow and then to the base of a choss pile, which is the start of your really steep climb. We recommend that this climb be done with trekking poles because the loose rocks for that half-mile section are kind of hard to find solid footing on. So having those trekking poles make it really easy to find steady footing and to take some of the pressure off of your back for the climb. At the crest of the mountain, you get 360-degree views of the Bay of St. Lawrence all the way to the mountains up north. From there, you will continue to the true summit of the hike, and then over to the far end and get sweeping views of 10 Mile Pond. From there, the trail takes you down the back of Gros Morne through really unique alpine tundra terrain that is pretty different than anything that we've ever seen. From there, you start a steep downhill all the way down to the meadow where you started before your climb. From there, it's a really easy descent all the way back down to the parking lot. It's recommended that you do not attempt this hike in any circumstances if there is expected rain or thunderstorms in the area. Owen and I actually got a really late start to this hike because the morning was supposed to rain, but it ended up being that the weather never came in and we went up later in the day than we had originally planned. The reason for this is when you are up on Gros Morne, it is completely exposed. There is zero coverage, there is zero trees, and you are on bare rock. So you stand a really high chance of getting struck by lightning or worse, although I don't know what would be worse. So that wraps up our top 5 favorite hikes in North America thus far. We would love to hear if any of you guys have done these hikes and what you think about them if you have. Or if you have any hike recommendations, we're always looking for a good one, so toss those in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel if you're into videos like this. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you down the road.